This is Professor Homa. Welcome, computer graphics students. This is Anchor Points Part 5. We're going to make an apple just like this one here. And we're also going to make a pear, but I think I'm just going to start just with an apple, and then in another tutorial we'll do the pear. So I'm going to start here, and we'll review some tools that we've used in the past, like the convert tool. That's pretty much it. Direct selection tool, convert tool. We may do a little bit of pathfinders as we work on some of these. But I'm going to start my apple, and I'm going to put my default color back on. I'll start this white and black as you probably would, and then we'll color it later. But I'm going to start with a circle. I'm going to draw a circle on my page, and I can see my 4 anchor points. They would all be curve points to start. And I know that because if I click here, the handles work like a seesaw. It's a curve point. What I'm going to do is convert them to corner points with handles so the handles work independently. So we could alter the shapes a little bit. So I'm going to need my convert tool, and all that I'm going to do is just drag on a handle, and you can see one handle goes up, the other stays down. Now I don't have to try and go and grab the other handle with this tool. I could go to the direct selection tool, and once one handle's up, the other will be independent. So I don't have to worry about I'm going to bring this down a little bit, then I'm not going to have to worry about dragging it up again. Once it's disengaged, you're free to use the direct selection tool. Now down here I'm going to drag this down a little bit and do the same thing. Use the convert tool, pull down a little bit, and I missed the handle. That's okay. I'll try that again. This time I'll get the handle. I'll drag the one down, and then I'll use the direct selection tool, click on the point so I could see the other handle, and drag that down. And now any editing I want to do, I could do with the direct selection tool. I could pull this point down. I could alter the angle slightly so it kind of has more of a V shape on the side. Maybe I'll just alter this a little so it doesn't look completely symmetrical. But there's my basic shape for my apple. It looks kind of like the one over here. And that's all I really need right now. Next thing I'm going to do is a leaf. Little apple leaf like this one here. And I'm just going to make an oval. This is pretty easy. Make an oval. And instead of using intersect between two circles like we used to with pathfinders, I'm going to just make an oval and use convert, and watch how easy this is. Click, click. Your leaf is done if you want it to stay like this, or if you want to drag on the tip, I'm just going to bend down one end, and I'm looking at the left side at the top of that leaf. I'm kind of bending that down. Now, I don't want it rounded on the top, and then I'll just convert it again. This is the first convert was actually dragging out a handle, made it into a curve again. The second convert is what I'm doing right now, is dragging the other, that disengages the other handle. Now they're independent, and these handles can move any way they want. And any editing I want to do, I could do with my direct selection tool. So I can stretch this out, I can mess with these handles a little bit, and that's about all I want to do with my leaf right now. So that's my leaf, and I'll move my leaf over. I'll put this all together in a minute. I'm going to draw a rectangle. A long, thin rectangle. This is going to be my stem, and sometimes I just kind of mess around with this. I don't have any certain plan, but I'm just going to kind of bend one end in. You can see that's kind of bended in, and because it's a curve point, the top is arching up. So there's that arch on the top. I'm going to leave it like that. It looks okay. And I'll take this one and I'll kind of bend this side in a little and give it a little. See, when I go this way, it's bending the other side in and it's pulling this out. That's creating this little dip here. If I wanted to get rid of this dip on the bottom, I could disengage the other side and just kind of drag this handle around. See, I'm dragging around in like clockwise motion. The shorter the handle, the more shallow of a curve it is. So you don't want real long handles here. You want short handles. So I'll just move that around. And we'll do more work with handles, and it takes some practice. So that's all I need. I got my apple. I have my leaf. And I have my stem. And if I want to work with some colors here, I'm going to select my apple. I'm going to go to my gradient tool, and it happens to have red and white because actually I just did this a little while ago and then it crashed on me and it didn't save, so I'm doing it over. So there's my red and white gradient. And if you want to change the highlight, you can use the gradient tool, and what I like to do is just go find the place where you want the highlight to be and just click and drag a little bit, and there's my highlight of the apple. If I want to throw my leaf up here, I'm going to give that a color, and I'm going to use the same gradient color. I'm not going to leave my leaf red and white, but I'm going to double click and make it maybe a dark green. Click above the slider here, and then go to the other side and make it a light green. And I could leave it radial, or if I wanted to make it linear, I could do that too. And I could rotate this around and stick my leaf up here. And you can guess what's coming next, the stem. I'll click on the stem, and I'll give it the same color, red, or I'm sorry, green and light green, and I'll make it maybe brown. Give it a brown color. Make it brown on one side, and give it a lighter brown on the other. And there's my stem. And I'll just scale it down by holding the corner. I'm not even holding shift because I could stretch it around a little bit. I could rotate it if I want. And I'll stick it up here. I'll scroll up a little bit. And I'm actually going to put it behind, move this down. I'll put it behind the apple because I don't want it just sticking in front. And that I would just do by doing Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And when you're working on one layer, it puts it as the furthermost object in the back of everything. So it's only when you're working on one layer do you really use these arrange options, because otherwise, you know, layers would be on top of each other, and that's how they would have their order. But when there's only one layer, this is what controls the order when you're dealing with multiple objects. So if I want this behind everything else, I could put it in the back. So there's my apple, there's my leaf, and there's my stem. So there's my apple. The next thing I'll do is a pear, but that's the end of this lesson.